Hi, I'm March from StrataGames, and today we're playing a deck donation from Sty. This is a deck they called Dog Bones. It's basically a Golgari Sacrifice / Stompy list. I think this list is very interesting. With their approval, I did make a couple of changes, because I think there were a couple cards that just didn't really fit in my opinion. They were playing some Evolution Witness, which is a cool card, but I think just a little bit too slow for what we're trying to do here. They're also playing Indestructible Dark Moss Bridges with a couple Brave the Wilds to make an Indestructible 3/3, which I think is a decent idea, but I didn't think we quite had the tokens and enchantments to be able to bargain very efficiently. And we were only playing 2 Brave the Wilds anyway. I think we'd want to go a little bit harder into that theme if that's what we were doing. So I tried to take what I thought the core of the deck was and make it a little bit stronger. And to me, that's this Biograph, Bone Picker, and Kildare Dead package of very cheap creatures that give us very nice power. Biograph is just enormous. Bone Picker has some flying and death touch, which is great. Kildare Dead has this regenerate, which can be really, really powerful if we're able to keep it alive because of that. And so our goal, I think, should be to have a fodder creature to sacrifice on turn 2 for this Biograph, or some way to kill a creature on turn 2 so this Bone Picker can come down. They were also playing just a couple more taplands than I really wanted. We're playing 2 Festering Gulch, 4 Haunted Mire, and 4 Colony Garden. They had 2 more taplands than this, and this already feels like a lot to me. But I think the Colony Gardens are obviously mandatory. They're one of the reasons to be playing this Golgari hybrid list. The reason I'm playing Haunted Mire is because I really wanted to be able to play Snuff Out. Snuff Out's great with Bone Picker because you can just snuff out a creature of your opponents and then play a Bone Picker for just 1. And otherwise, we only had 4 swamps. Of course, we need more green sources early because all of our fodder creatures in this deck, as opposed to like a Black Sac deck, are actually green. Young Wolf, Rumblebelt Maverick, a couple Nest Invader, and then also Malevolent Rumble. All of these are the creatures that we're going to want to sacrifice to our threats, which are both green and black. So we don't actually need black mana right away. And then they were playing some Village Rites and some Bequeathals, but I think we wanted to lean fully into that, so I upped those to a play set so that we can really churn through this deck. We're losing a lot of speed that Black Sac has on us for sure, with our tap lands and just our 2 colors. But I think the value we can make up for that with so many creatures that just are enormous right out the gate, and with the card advantage we can get with Bequeathal and Village Rites, I think can be really strong. Rancor is of course a great Stompy card, whether you're throwing it on a Biograph or a Kildare Dead. You can just make a giant trampler that ideally they can't kill. And then also we're playing some Unearths. This is just a great way to just buy back your Biograph without having to sacrifice another creature. Unfortunately, it can't hit Bone Picker, but it can also get our Kildare Dead, though this is an ETB sacrifice a creature, so we are actually going to have to still do that with the Unearth. And a little bit of extra synergy, the Malevolent Rumbles can mill a bunch of cards to make it so our Unearths are a little bit better. So I think there might be something to this. In our sideboard, we have Duress, Tragic Slip, Unexpected Fangs, which is a great card that we get here. It's possible that Vampiric Link being cheaper would be better, but we are playing a slightly slower version that the instant speed and the extra counter could be really good. We're also still playing a couple Weather the Storms and 4 Nile Spellbombs. These were Relics of Progenitus, but I think with the Unearth package and the Rumblebelt Mavericks, we don't really want to be exiling our own graveyard. So thanks again for the deck donation, and let's jump right into a league. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sac and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. Alright, we're gonna mulligan a 1-lander here. We got 3 lands here though. Young Wolf on turn 1. Actually, no, we'll probably just Colony Garden straight into a Biograph. Yeah, so let's keep this. I think we'll keep the Gulch as well for black mana. So maybe just get rid of the Young Wolf. We already have fodder from these 2. I think these are a little bit better value. Young Wolf, obviously, if it's not being played on turn 1, loses a little bit. So let's give this a try. Opponent on something blue. Bequeathal definitely could be decent later. We see Alorian Revealed. Just getting an island, so probably on Mono Blue Terror. They just play a land. Well, I don't really want to Groff if we're going to walk into a counterspell. So I could just Festering Gulch, which means I could have black mana for next turn, and then I could Bequeathal this plant, which is decent because it gets us 2 cards when we sacrifice it later. I think that's good. If they want to counter the Bequeathal, it's not really the end of the world. They do have a Force Spike. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll play a Gulch and pass to them. I mean, this lets us next turn play Biograph and Bone Picker. Obviously, if they can counter one, it's not amazing. Ooh, I could Bayou Groff, and then if that gets countered, I unearth it for a 5/4. We only have 1 black mana, so I probably want to use one of them. And yeah, I mean, I could also go for like a Malevolent Rumble. If that gets countered, we don't have anything to do. I could Nest Invader and then play like a Groff. I think we're just going for the Bayou Groff with the Unearth. Try to eat through these counter spells. I mean, we saw Force Spike, so they could counter and then Force Spike, or even have a Spell Pierce for the Unearth, either of which would not be great, but we're going to hope that's not the case. All right, that worked. Bayou Groff on the field. They Thought Scour, double Delver in the yard. Not bad for us. Groff can go toe-to-toe with any Serpents they play, which is nice. There's a Cryptic. Rumble. All right, I mean, I think we swing, then I can Invader plus Bone Picker. They just take it. I have to sack the spawn in order to do the Nest Invader, or rather Nest Invader into the Bone Picker. Then we just have a 2/2, which isn't great. I mean, it's not bad if they attack us and then leave open themselves, but I kind of expect another Terror to come down. We could Rumble. I think we Nest Invader and go for the Bone Picker. I could also then Rumble here, but I'd need to hit a Swamp to be able to play Bone Picker. Like, I don't love just wasting the mana and the chump block ability of the spawn, but I think getting the Bone Picker down is pretty good. If they want to, like, hold up so that we can't get in on the ground, at least we still have Flyer in the air. And Groff can still attack and force a trade. They go for a Brainstorm, then Thought Scour away, Mental Note, Deep Analysis, and Flashback Deep Analysis. Okay, they get an island. We could see a Terror, or maybe a Demon Furior. No, just Terror. Not bad if they're holding back here. Bequeathal, probably just throw that on like a Groff. They have to trade pretty much, and then we get to draw 2. We are playing some Snuff Outs, but we don't currently have a Swamp for them. I also can't find them off Rumble. I'm trying to think if there's any reason to go for a Rumble pre-combat here, and I don't think so. I think we just Bequeathal this up, swing in. I guess if I found a Rancor, it would be just 2 extra damage, which is not terrible, but not the best thing ever either. And if they just want to take it, obviously, that's also fine. I guess they could and then Demon Furior this, but they'd be going to 3, so that's still pretty good for us. So they do block. We get to draw 2. Young Wolf and Unearth. That's pretty great. We get back Groff, and I play the Young Wolf. I can't Rumble, but I think that's fine. Getting back Groff seems really good here. Play the Wolf and pass. Also, I don't think I mentioned, but they named the deck Dog Bones, which I think is a very fitting name, as Bayou Groff is a dog, Young Wolf is a wolf, kind of a dog if you want to think of it that way. Then we have Bone Picker and Kildare Undead, which is a skeleton, so we got some bones going around. It's a good name. They go for a Lorien Revealed. Okay, that into Demon Furior could take care of 1 attacker, or just another Terror. Yeah, not a bad spot for us. We get another Rumble. Well, let's go for one of these first. Kildare Undead or a Colony Garden. Dead upgrades our Young Wolf. They just concede. That's great. Okay, we were going to take the Dead because it upgrades Young Wolf. We get to attack, trade for a Terror, hit him for 3, and then we have like a regenerating guy. So that was pretty cool. We get a bunch of Spell Bombs, probably Tragic Slips. Kildare Undead chump blocks indefinitely, which is kind of cool. I kind of think we don't necessarily need the Tragic Slips. We'll just keep the Snuff Outs. Like bringing in 4 Spell Bombs, plus we have at least 8 creatures that already trade with their guys. I think we're okay. All right, this hand is gas. Bone Picker, Rumble, Bequeathal. We have a Spell Bomb early. Like a Groff would be nice because then we could like turn 2 it off the Colony Garden. But hey, there's the Groff. I think we're probably leading with this garden anyway. I mean, they're going to counterspell it. So we probably actually next turn play like Spell Bomb and then Bequeathal on the plant, and we try to wait an extra turn like we did last time, but still think Garden is the way to go. Cycle Lorien and pass the turn. We get a Young Wolf. All right, we're going to Bequeathal onto this plant. If they counter it, I'd probably land a Spell Bomb. They could Force Spike the way I'm doing it here, and that's fine. But if this just resolves, then I probably want to play Haunted Mire so that next turn I can go Groff, sack this, draw 2, and if they counter it, then I get a Bone Picker down. Whereas if I play the untapped land first, then I can't necessarily do that. But if they do counter this, then I'm going to take the opportunity to get down a Spell Bomb, I think. So, we'll see. They have an annul for it. No response. Yeah, I think we just get down a Spell Bomb. They already have 3 cards in their grave, but only 4 cards in hand because they mulliganed. So if we're able to keep them off a Terror, that's pretty good. They play an island and just pass. We get another Groff. I think I just Young Wolf and hold up our Spell Bomb, which I'll probably end up cracking here, and then pass. This way I can still do Groff and Bone Picker next turn, and I don't waste our Spell Bomb value. They go for Mental Note, hitting 2 spells, so we're going to get this crack the Spellbomb in their draw step. Obviously, we can deal with some terrors on the board, but if I can delay them, obviously that's just better. They don't even hit a land drop. So all gas. Swing with Young Wolf. I'm going to Bayou Groff the Young Wolf, which is at the very least going to come back, and then we can get a Bone Picker down. I expect a Counterspell, but we'll hope for no Force Spike on the Bone Picker. Ooh, no Counterspell either. Oh, they do counter the Bone Picker. All right. I mean, I'm kind of okay with the Groff. I guess if they have a Demon Inferior for that, it's better to get rid of it because I have to sack an extra creature, but that's not a big deal if that's their plan. Play an island. Murmuring Mystic. Well, we did keep in a couple Snuff Outs, but this could be a problem if we don't draw one. Well, we're going to swing with these two, and then I'm probably going to Village Rites this plant token. They block here. I should have Village Rites this first because I didn't fully think this through. There's no reason to let them block. I'm hoping to draw a Snuff Out here. We don't. Well, I guess we're just getting down to Bayou Groff, but these guys get chump blocked very easily by birds. So we could be in some trouble. If I can find a Rancor, that obviously would help if they don't counter it. There's a Thought Scour. It's Island Brainstorm. They do have the Demon Inferior for the Groff, which I'm not going to draw this next turn, and I'm going to play a Rumble, so I might as well put this on the bottom. They swing for one. You get a Kildare dead. It's not great. Go for a Rumble. See if they just counter this. They don't, and we get the Rancor, so I'm hoping that works, but they could just have a Counterspell or an Annul for it. Ooh, they don't. You get to swing for 9 then. They just chump block the Wolf. I could play Nest Invader, or I could just play Kildare dead, which if I ever have a way to kill the Mystic could be decent. Or if we get another Rancor. It's either that or Nest Invader, which is a 2/2, which means it doesn't die to a bird. I think I'd rather play a Nest Invader. Pass the turn. Cryptic Serpent. Okay, no Demon Inferior for the Groff is nice. We're going to start with a Rumble. Spellbomb, or I could get Maverick or Young Wolf. Neither of those do too much. I think we just take the Spellbomb. I think we just swing with the Groff. Well, they pretty much have to block it here, so I can attack with these guys. If they trade a bird for one, it's not terrible, and I can get in for 2. Yeah, actually, let's attack with these. Yeah, we got a free bird dead this way. So trade here, they take 2, kill a bird. We also get Rancor back, so they concede. Oh my gosh, we crushed them. So I was going to Rancor up a Young Wolf here because we can give it another counter from the Maverick in our graveyard and make it a 5/3, so it can attack past the Mystic. Then if that resolves, I was going to Spellbomb, and if that resolves, blow up their graveyard, probably in their draw. And I might as well probably just play a Kildare dead here too, so I'd use some spawn for the mana for the Spellbomb and for this, but we just dismantled Mono Blue Terror. Alright, here we are round 2, we're on the draw, but we have decent mana. Tap land is awkward, but that's something we have to accept, so I can't like Young Wolf into Groff right away, but I could tap land into Young Wolf Village Rites, potentially like Young Wolf Bayou Groff the next turn. Like, this hand seems decent. We're going to keep it for sure. We're against Bogles, it looks like, with an Abundant Growth. We didn't really set ourselves up to play against Bogles. I don't think we have any Edicts. That might have been something we missed in the build, was no like a Curse Marauders in the sideboard. Yeah, we have Snuff Out and Tragic Slip. We do have Duresses, which can be okay. This could be an oversight. We could definitely just get stomped real quick here. They go for a Rumble. Heliod's Pilgrim, interesting. Well, they get a Bogle or a Pilgrim. They choose the Bogle. We get a Groff. This is interesting. I want to get more aggressive with the Young Wolf, especially because we're probably going to just lose to their aggression. But I think I got a Rumble here, because if we don't draw a land off the Village Rites off the Young Wolf, it could be really awkward. We do get a land here. Do I want a Colony Garden, which is more creatures, or I could just take a Forest so that next turn I could Groff and Young Wolf, maybe? I think the Untapped Forest is where we want to be at. They go for a Sprawl. We even have 4 Unearths in our deck, so a Cursed Marauder just slides really nicely into the sideboard. So I definitely think we should have thought about that, but alas. They go for an Ethereal Armor on the Bogle and a Lifelink, so it's a 5/5 right now. We get a Gulch. I think the best we can do is play a Young Wolf, sack it right away to the Groff. If they don't get Trample, we have a Chump Blocker, which is decent. And then we also have decent damage on them on the Crackback, but we really need them to have very little for the rest of their cards. I can't double Groff this turn because I didn't have 2 creatures and 4 mana. They go for a Rumble. They find the Armadillo Cloak. They choose Ethereal Armor, which probably means they have another Rancor already, or Armadillo Cloak, I suppose. Yep, there's the Cloak. Ethereal Armor. 15, and they're going to gain double that life. We've lost. I can't target this. Yeah, we didn't build our sideboard to beat this, so definitely something to keep in mind for the next one. But for now, we're going to hope some duresses get there, I suppose. Unearth doesn't seem necessary. I mean, Unexpected Fangs could maybe help us race. I mean, Unearth is still good with our Rumble, I suppose. I mean, we have Young Wolf with double Rancor. We have Bequeathal. We'll give this one a try. But they kept a 7, so I'm not really expecting them to flounder too much. There's a Bogle. Bone Picker, but I have no way to trigger it this turn. I think we're just doing this and Young Wolf. I could play Bequeathal on a plant and then we jump block right away, but I think we'll just try to get the wolf down. They go for a Rumble. They take Armadillo Cloak, Gulch. Still no way to get a Bone Picker down. I think I just double Rancor up this wolf and swing. Hit for 5. We'll play a Gulch and pass. Play an Ash Barrens, Abundant Growth on it. Cartouche of Solidarity for first strike. And a Rancor. So they can block our Young Wolf if they leave it back. Yeah. Let's go for a Rumble. Bayou Groff. We'll take that. I mean, first strike trample. They have everything they're going to need. You can't death touch it down. I kind of feel like I just Groff the Young Wolf so I get my Rancors back. So if they attack, I could at least Rancor up my attackers. Maybe have a chance. So that's what we're going to do. And play a Bone Picker, but this is definitely a match where, like, I've been kind of cutting a Cursed Marauder a little bit more from my Black Sac lists, at least from the main deck, because it's not actually great against most opponents, but obviously this is the one where you want it, so put it back in there. They play a Cloak, another Rancor, so it's got 8 power, trample, first strike. They gain 8. Let's Rancor here, Garden, Bequeathal. Hope they have no way to kill us this one turn. I get to attack in for 14, which is only 8 more than what they dealt us and gain every turn. So 8 more, no, only 6 more. They deal 8 and we deal 6 more. So it's not great. We put them to 8, which is kind of cool, but they go back up to 16 minimum. They have another Armadillo Cloak, so we'll take 10-ish. They'll gain 20. Well, we're just going to concede here. Yeah, I get to draw 2 cards here. It's not going to matter. We just didn't build our deck to beat that one, so something to keep in mind for the future. All right, this hand looks pretty reasonable. Young Wolf on turn 2 with a Village Rites if I want it, and then turn 3 I could like Rumble into Bone Pickers. Pretty decent. Looks like we're against Delver of some sort. Yeah, just nothing to play on turn 1, so we'll just go for a Gulch. Snow-covered islands could be just for show, or this could be like an Is It Scred Delver. And they don't flip, but they do reveal another Delver, which is good to know. Ooh, and no land drop either. No flip, and they didn't even hit their land drop. Is pretty good for us, for sure. Kildare Dead is interesting, because I could just play Young Wolf dead, and we have 5 power on turn 2. That means even if they flip their Delvers, we have like a semi-reasonable clock back, and then next turn we get Rumble plus Bone Picker. I mean, what's my alternative this turn? Kildare Dead, sack itself, play Bone Picker. That doesn't seem very good. Or just Malevolent Rumble. So yeah, I think we're gonna do this. Like Young Wolf, like, man, if we had a Young Wolf in Black Sac would be incredible. Like, turning a 1/1 into a 1/1 is cool, decent value, but like turning a 1/1 into a 2/2, especially on the turn you play it, is like mad value. So I'm pretty happy with this. They once again reveal, but it is an island. Obviously, I'd know that that's what they drew anyway. But no actual reveal is pretty nice, because we still get to attack with both. They could double block the Young Wolf, great for us, or block the dead, but we get to regenerate. And also if we attack and they block with anything, which I'm not really expecting, but if they do, then we can Bone Picker without having to sack our spawn. They go for a Ponder, so probably going to be able to Delver next turn, because they're going to be able to set that up with the Ponder. It feels like if they had the Ponder last turn, they should have played it to find their land drop, but they really wanted the second Delver, I guess. Oh, they shuffled their library too, so they're still not for sure going to be here. Okay. Well, we're going to just attack for 5. So I can Rumble, or now that I drew this Maverick, I could just play it, Village Rites, and then Bone Picker. I generally do want to leave up black mana to regenerate this at all times. If they're mono blue, it's not going to matter except for combat, but I'm not confident that they're not like Scred, but they're going to have other things to kill, I think, like the Bone Picker, so I think We are leading with the Maverick here. And like, this is not something I mind sacrificing. Its main value is from the ETB and then from the graveyard for a counter. So they're going to consider in response. Also not able to set up the Delvers, so they could still be blind flipping. They've been a Terror, so it is Terror of some variety. Rancor and another Rumble. Rumble's decent, but is it really what I need right now? I think I'll put one in the grave, but I'll keep the Rancor for sure. Then we'll Village Rites. I like that they tapped out, so I don't have to worry about Spell Pierce or anything. Then we'll play Bone Picker. Only 1 green mana since we drew like a Maverick and a Rancor that we knew about, and then the Rumble is a little awkward, but that's okay. All right, they don't flip again, but we do know they draw a Terror. I don't know if they know that you don't have to reveal, and that's okay. Witness Protection. Okay. Takes this guy out, but currently it still attacks. Also, this is a weird one to be playing because it's not going to flip your Delvers and it's not going to count towards your Terror. Sleight of Hand. I mean, there is Ponders in here, but this is kind of looking to me like a budget Terror deck because like Consider and Sleight of Hand are much cheaper than a Mental Note, but obviously a little worse. We get a Colony Garden. So what do I have? 6 damage here. Let's just Rumble. We get just another Swamp or another tap land. We already have a couple tap lands. I guess I'll take an untapped one in case that's what we want. For now, I think we're just playing a Colony Garden and swinging for 6. They take it. Delvers are going to flip on a Dispel, which I currently don't have any instance for, so that's good. Another Sleight of Hand. Play an island. And they're going to attack. That doesn't seem right to me, but they got us. Pass the turn. I will Rancor onto this legitimate business person in case they have like a boomerang or something. This is going to be 8 damage. They have a counter spell. Well, we'll just make it 7 then. We'll use the Maverick from the grave, put a counter on this plant, attack for 7, and then we have 4 lethal attackers, plus if we draw our other Gulch, that would kill them. Play Haunted Mire and pass. There's a Terror. If they have another Terror, they're not technically dead. They don't. We get a Bone Picker. Let's play a Maverick, see if they like counter that, in which case it would give us another attacker. Also would just mean they tap out. They do. Don't think they thought that one fully through, but that left them dead on board, and it gave us actually an extra attacker. So we will take this game down. So yeah, it just looks like Mono Blue Terror to me, but a little budget. Bring in some Spell Bombs. All right, just a Swamp, not going to cut it. Here we have 2 tap lands, but this will do, although they don't cast Snuff out. So do I get rid of that? Probably. The rest of our hand's pretty decent. I can find a Swamp off a Rumble if I really need. And we can unearth whatever the other thing. Yeah, maybe we get rid of this Young Wolf. They mulligan to 5. They do have the turn 1 Delver, though. We get a Haunted Mire, so I could just kill the Delver right now. It is probably their best way to kill us, seeing as they went down to 5. I think we will. Our hand is really slow, a little clunky, and I could see a world where we don't really get our bearings until turn 3, and then they have mostly counter spells and can kill us. We don't get rid of the Delver. We don't have a lot of other removal or flyers for the Delver anyway. The only reason we were able to keep them back before was because we had a faster start and they didn't flip. So they've been a Terror because they're nowhere near flipping them. That's pretty good for us. We draw Swamp. Fortunately, I wasn't able to play the Colony Garden, but I could Rumble here. I guess that's decent. Hopefully no Spell Pierce. Okay. Bone Picker, Rancor, Rumble Belt Maverick. I mean, not the Maverick. It's either Rancor or Bone Picker. We get a spawn, so next turn I can sack that. Or I can play Colony Garden, 2 mana, sack that, and get the Bone Picker down. Let's do that. Rancor could be good too, but the mana is actually better for us to do this with the Bone Picker, 1 green, 1 black, and I think I'd actually like to diversify my threats in case they have a bounce spell or something. Consider keeps it on top. Sleight of Hand, play an island, Young Wolf. So we'll play a garden, sack this for a mana, sacrifice the plant token here, play the Bone Picker, and pass. That's a pretty good clock. We also have Unearth for the Groff if it dies. We have a Maverick, which can get a counter on one of these. We have a Young Wolf for more fodder if we need. They're missing a land drop. And they just concede. Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty fast clock on them. They obviously had a bad mulligan. And like I said, looks like they're playing some subpar cards just because of, I would assume, budget constraints. All right, we are on the draw. Can't keep this one. Can't keep that one either. We're at 5, and we have a 1-lander on the draw. I guess we'll keep this one. Get rid of a Rumble and a Nest Invader. Try to keep the highest upside cards, I think. More blue. We do get a second land, which is nice. Brine Barrow, so it's going to be fairies. This is going to be pretty unfortunate with so few lands and just so many 1-drops that can get spell stuttered. But they're going for Ninja right away. So I could Young Wolf and Kildare Undead. We have a 2/2 and a 3/1 to block the Ninja. Obviously, I'm not blocking with the 3/1. But then they just Brine Barrow the Young Wolf, and that's not great. I kind of think it's risky if they have like a bounce spell, but I kind of want a Young Wolf and Bequeathal on it and then just chump. If they snap, it's like a really big waste because we lose Bequeathal and they get a card draw. I kind of think that's where we're at though at the moment. Like the Dead's not bad. I could double block, and if they go for Brine Barrow, maybe that would have been better. I don't know. This is pretty decent as long as they just don't have the snap or like a Bind the Monster. I mean, Bind isn't the worst either because I just get to sacrifice it, still draw the cards and bring it back, but they still get their card draw. They're going to swing. I will take my free block and draw 2. Young Wolf Rancor. No land for them, so 7 spells. Okay. Now I kind of want a Young Wolf, Kildare Undead, but if they have the Spell Stutter, which, I mean, what else are they going to have? Just regular counterspell, maybe. I could go for a Rumble. Yeah, Rumble doesn't get spell stuttered. It can give us another chump blocker if I need. It can set up an Unearth. If they just counterspell it, that's fine. We're not going to trade 2 for 2 and a card draw. I'd rather chump and make them use a Brine Barrow. Miscreant. They're going to have 1 mind. Yep. Looks like they didn't hit the land though. Ooh, and they're just going to keep it there. Tapped out. That's pretty good. So we could Groff, Young Wolf and Groff, I guess. And I have 2 Young Wolves. A 5/4. Yeah, I think we'll attack then because we'll already have 2 blockers. Sacrifice this. It comes back. Get a 5/4. They have another Miscreant. That's pretty good. Draw a card. And another of 1 mind. They're still missing lands though. So they got to discard 2. That's not bad for us at all. And they concede. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure how this matchup is going to be for us in general, but that is a very good start, obviously. Tragic Slip's good. Duress, maybe. Is there anything to cut? Kildare Undead just blocks ninjas all day. That's kind of cool. It's not great to snaps, but that's fine. Same with the Groff. Gotta just deal with that. Rancor is good. Probably good enough for with the Groff. Like, if they're blocking with their creatures, it's not usually the worst thing for us, but if they just can't block, it's pretty good too. Nest Invader gives us 2 bodies, so that's actually something I like quite a bit here. I think I'm going to cut a Bequeathal because I am worried about snaps and stuff. Maybe 1 Rumble, but obviously them not hitting lands was strong, especially on our Mold of 5. This hand's pretty good. We'll keep it for sure. They Strix, tap the island. No Snuff Out. If I play Haunted Mire, I could at least hold up a Tragic Slip next turn, though. I really don't need to Colony Garden to have that creature right away. I think we will just play the Mire. Having the potential black mana could be pretty good. If they go for like a Moonstruck Hacker here that I want to kill. There it is. And replay the Strix. Okay, so I'm going to play Garden. So we have 1 chump blocker, and then we're either going to Tragic Slip or Young Wolf or Maverick. Maybe Maverick. That sets up a nice Unearth. It sets up another land, which I kind of need. It's still 2 blockers. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. Bone Picker does not get unearthed. We already have an Unearth for that reason. It's a flyer, though. We need a land. Bayou Groff doesn't let me play a Bone Picker. Yeah, these are both going to the grave, unfortunately. I do want a Bone Picker, but just not right now. I think that's maybe my biggest gripe with the deck right now is that Unearth doesn't hit Bone Picker, and that's just an unfortunate reality of those cards. But if I did have a way to hit Bone Picker with our Reanimate spell for still 1 mana, then I'd be much happier there. They go for an of 1 mind. I'll gladly trade here, even if this just trades for like a Brine Barrow activation, because then I have this in my yard for later. There's the Brine Barrow. It also just taps them out of Spell Stutter. Generally, I think pretty good for us. Oh, and no other ninja is nice as well. Another of 1 mind, though. They're drawing all of those. Still no land. What are we doing here? So, Tragic Slip on the Strix. I could just Nest Invader for blockers. Strix gets through. They didn't have a ninja, but they just drew 2 more, so they could have a ninja this time. I kind of want to just Bequeathal the plant, but again, if they have like a way to snap it, it's really bad. It's probably just Tragic Slip and Young Wolf, because then I can like block plant here if I want, Young Wolf here. Yeah, get rid of the Strix. Play a Young Wolf. We were even disciplined to get rid of 2 good spells off the top, and I'm still missing land drops. They wouldn't know what it's like to miss land drops. Alright, if I don't block this and they have a ninja, pick it up and then immediately use it to blank the Young Wolf, that's really annoying. So even though I don't really want to lose this creature, I think we're just going to block them both. Yeah. Upgrades to a 2/2. They pass immediately. Okay. Well, I think we don't have much else but like a Nest Invader here. And then if they counterspell, that's fine. They have double Spell Stutter. Okay. Well, I guess I unearth the Nest Invader. I can't Groff. I want this for the Groff next turn, but I don't have a way to get the Groff down if I don't have fodder. Yeah, I think we just buy back the Nest Invader. I guess I attack too, because I have a blocker already here. Alright. If there's a Ninja for the Spell Stutter, then it's going to be really unfortunate. Start with a Fairy Seer. That means they probably have a way to draw a card, which is probably a Ninja. Suffocating Fumes might be a card for the sideboard. Swing for 2. No, it's 3. Rancor's pretty good. It's a lot of damage. Let's see, I could Bequeathal the Spawn. If they counter that, I can just Groff. Yeah, I don't really want Rancor to get countered. Bequeathal, like, I'd like to not get countered either, but probably more than Groff. If they let this resolve, I'd probably just Nest Invader. Yeah, there's the Spell Stutter. Here's a Biogroff. I'm going to swing with one of these guys. Yeah, I realized doing this with no mana makes it so that I walk into this a little bit, but I kind of am okay killing a flyer, I think. I don't know. Not amazing, but play an island. Another of one mind. They have so many. So many of one minds. Hidden with the sprites. Another ninja. Come on, dude. Bone Picker. I'm gonna bait with a Nest Invader, I guess. Man, if I had a Snuff Out, dude, I could attack with the Groff, but if they just take it, then I don't have much to do. But if they, like, block it, I get to Bone Picker. I don't know. I think maybe I just Rancor here, try to go all in. Although they have 2 ninjas. Yeah, this is pretty bad. I don't know what else to do, though. They take 7, and they probably just don't care too much about it because they get to hit for, like, 5, draw a card. If they have another ninja, they get to pick up an intruder and not even... Oh, well, they're not attacking with that one. Well, block a ninja here. They have another ninja the Deep Hours. Okay. Spell Stutter in hand. Come on, dude. Bone Picker. I can't cast them unless they have a creature die, so I basically have to... Well, I could leave this back, but that's not a winning strategy. I have to attack and hope that they, like, chump a couple of it, and then I can play a Bone Picker, but they did not. Which is fair, because even if I had a way to pump this, they had a counterspell. Now they attack, and we die. I mean, they had so many ninjas. We only have 4 removal spells. So chances are we are only going to see 1, maybe 2 if we're lucky, but 1 tap land. Now this hand sucks. Let's get rid of that. This hand's better. Killed our dead hand. So what are we going to do? Turn 1, Garden. Turn 2, Young Wolf. Keldarin. That's a hard word to say. Dead, and then the next turn we do another dead. Yeah, I think we just get rid of this forest then. Just because we're going to be sacrificing so many creatures. They have a Miscreant. Ooh, I gotta tell you, just slamming a Groff is tempting, but I could just play a 2/2 and a 3/1. I knew I should have kept the forest, but maybe I'd run out of creatures actually. It would just make it easier to play this next turn. It's 5 power either way. It's just split up this way, which actually makes it easier for them to pick off, right? If they have a snap, it's better for the Groff, or it's worse for the Groff, but we haven't seen a snap yet. Same with Bind the Monster, but it's better if they, for like their Brian Bears and stuff. I think we just go for the Groff actually. I guess it's also worse this way for Spell Stutter. Of course, they had the snap. Ugh, dude. They swing, Hacker, replay their guy. We get another Groff. Oh, this would have been so good without that snap. I mean, I could just play another Groff, but I just don't think that's the strat now. I think we're going to Young Wolf, kill Darren dead. I could upgrade this, or I could crack the plant, but if I don't upgrade this, I actually have a blocker here that kills it and then upgrades to a 2/2 as opposed to having to lose it. So I actually think it's better to get rid of the plant for defensive purposes. Not as good for offense because I lose the damage attacking them, but they have an of one mind and another of one mind, of course. They have 4 of one minds in hand at all times, I'm learning. I think they've cast 9 of them across these games. Strix taps the Young Wolf, so I'd have to trade the dead for this. I'm obviously not doing that. Not right now. So we're just going to let that go. Gulch. And I'm going to attack them for 4. If they block here, I'll certainly regenerate, but I don't expect that. Now I get to play Groff, sack the Young Wolf. I can't play another dead without just losing the wolf, though, which is only a minor upgrade, so I don't think we're going to do that. They have another of one mind. What am I telling you, dude? Like, if I could have 4 draw 2s in my hand for 1 mana every game, I would love that. They have another snap, of course. I feel like this matchup was a lot more fair when they only had 2 lands. That was my preferred game for sure. Snare Master Sprite. Lock down the Young Wolf. They get in for 4. They get to loot. Yep. Discard a Force Spike. Young Wolf's a pretty good draw because I get to Young Wolf, Groff, and dead if we want. Well, we're attacking for 3. I mean, we're not dead yet, but it's feeling pretty rough, I gotta admit. Young Wolf, we're definitely playing a Groff. So again, I could play the dead and we just upgrade one of these into like an untapped guy. Just doesn't do much of anything. Or I could give Young Wolf an extra power. We should do some math because this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess we technically have lethal right now. Dead only adds 1 power. It is better against a Brine Barrow though because it still retains 1. And I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do much else. I have 2 blockers on the ground. I think we wait. And if we have like nothing to do next turn, I probably will trade the dead for like one of our tapped creatures, but I don't know. We're hoping they have little, but starting with the Fairy Seer doesn't inspire me with confidence. Scry 2 to the bottom. Another Fairy Seer. Where's that Suffocating Fumes? 2 more to the bottom. Dude, I'm gonna lose it. This is why I gotta play Black Sack, because I can just sacrifice my own guy in response to these snaps, and then I don't care. They attack with everything. So of course I could block here. They probably have a Brine Barrow. We take 3. Otherwise we take 5. 5's a lot. 5 means we could die just in the air next turn with a Ninja. Yeah, I think we block here. I assume they have a Brine Barrow or something. There's another Hacker. No, they trade, but still we take 4, and they picked up the Snare Master. That's pretty annoying. We get a Swamp. These Biographs are feeling real bad when they have Snare Master and triple snap. We'll swing for 5. All 3 of these require a sacrifice, so I can only play 2, and every one I play that I just upgrade one of these guys slightly, unless I just want to cast one, but that Snare Master, and then we die to a something. Oh, they could also have a Spell Stutter here. I wish we could regenerate this off of the sacrifice. That'd be pretty cool. Well, we're going to play some Biographs and hope they don't get countered. Slightly upgrading our creatures. They didn't. They still get to tap one of them down, which means we're not going to have lethal the next turn unless theoretically they tap out with everything. Then we get a Rancor. They loot with Strix. Interesting. Discard an island. There's the Snare Master. I mean, I can't imagine what we can draw. They're going to tap one of these. I mean, if I get a Village Rites to sack the tapped one into like double Rancor, that would do it. I mean, that's basically what we need, I think. Single Rancor? Come on, dude. Put them to 2. That's pretty unfortunate. They blocked? That's not fair. They just block with 1. What if I have a Hunger of the Howl pack? Dude, 1 damage off. All right, well, we lost, but it was kind of close, and I gotta admit, I think they drew pretty well there. Except for the first game, but the second 2, they drew very well. All right, we're on the draw here, but this hand's pretty good. 3 lands with a garden. So I can do a turn 2 Groff. They play a Baron Moor. That means either Cycle Storm or Black Sack. More likely Cycle Storm, and definitely Cycle Storm after that, which means we're probably not going to be fast enough, but I do have a 5/4 on turn 2, which is kind of cool. So we're going to play that. Pass the turn. They're going to cycle a couple of guys. How can we deal the most damage as quickly as possible? I think we just play a Maverick here. See what we can surveil. Snuff Out's useless. Young Wolf, not the best. Attack for 5, and I guess we're going to Village Rites the Maverick. Maybe we can get like a turn 5 win if I draw like, I don't know, a Groff. Yeah, I guess just another Groff would do it. But turn 5 might be too slow. As is often the case when you're playing a fair deck against an unfair deck. Play Village Rites on the Maverick. Double land. Another Maverick. Can Mav onto this for 6 damage. That means, and this is another 1. Which means I need 2 more damage next turn, which could be a Rancor. So I think we look for something like a Rancor here. In fact, Rancor would just do it without needing to grab a Maverick here. All right. We do get Rancor, so we can do a next turn lethal. We'll see if that's fast enough, but Rancor on the Groff. Swing for 7. I'm not going to play the Gulch yet, because that would definitively show them that they're dead, which I get like next turn, which I guess the Maverick already does in the grave, but they might not know what Maverick does. We're just going to play a tap land and see if we can survive another turn. Seems tough, gotta be honest. But I will say, like, a turn 5 win is nothing to scoff at. Like, it's through no interaction, right? But that's a pretty good, sign that this deck has some juice, so to speak. They cast a Lotus Petal, so they're definitely going for it. The question is just, will they fizzle out? They Street Wraith. And they're going to cast some rituals, and we'll see if they kill us. They go for a Rowan's Grim Search, sacking a land. Only 2 cards in hand, but if they hit a Songs of the Damned and a... what's the other one? Reaping the Graves, they probably will have it. There's Reaping. They're cycling, hitting some more rituals. They do find a Song, so that's 13 mana. Keep cycling. Cabal Ritual, Songs of the Damned. Now if they just show one more Reaping the Graves, we're just going to concede. They get back 12 things. They can play the Dranith Stingers and then easily just kill us with those. Here we get Spell Bombs and Duress. Cut our slow cards, I think. Just try to go fast. I mean, maybe Keller and Dead is fast. I mean, it is faster than a Nest Invader. Maybe it's better. I don't know. We'll do that. Well, we have Forest. I can get a Maverick. We have no black mana. But I can Maverick, and then I could, like, Rancor it up for some damage, but that's like a 7-turn clock. I could maybe find a black source with this, and Unearth could then hit something cool. I mean, it's so close. I think we're going to give it a try. Maverick also just helps us find our Spell Bombs and Duress. Bequeathal, we don't need that. I guess Duress doesn't do anything with no black mana, actually. That's pretty bad. Well, I guess we're putting these both in the yard. Tough. We get another Duress anyway. Rancor onto the Maverick, and might as well Bequeathal it. So if I get a Biograph, I can sack it, draw 2, hit for 3. I mean, if we get a Spell Bomb, this could be fast enough. Like, you know, they're going to get a turn 4-ish win, probably. But if we can blow up their graveyard on turn 3, set them back a couple turns, like this might be able to get there. But it's possible I should have left in the Malevolent Rumbles as more ways to find the Spell Bombs. That probably would have been better, to be honest. Oof. Well, we only have 4 forests in the deck. No, 5 forests. All right, well, still. I guess I should have cycled this. I shouldn't have played that, because what if I get a black tap land here? Should have cycled the Unearth already. Well, we did get a tap land, but still not a very good one. They have a Great Furnace. We get a Village Rites. Swing for 3. We'll play a Garden. I mean, theoretically, like a Swamp off the top, Duress could stop them, but I think it has to be, like, Spellbomb next turn, assuming they don't just go off on this turn of theirs. But they usually want to wait as long as possible, and they can see that we're not going to probably kill them next turn. But they cycle a bunch, play a Vault, and a Petal, so maybe they are just going to go for it. Dark Ritual. I mean, good, because our best way to win is them to probably just fizzle, so we need that to happen. Rowan's Grim Search. Bin 2 cards there. Draw the other 2. Cabal Ritual, another Grim Search. Put 3 into the yard there. Cabal Ritual. Cycle Horror. Cycle Bear and more. Songs of the Damned. I mean, we need them to just not have the Reaping the Graves and just have all mana. That's pretty much how it goes. There's Reaping. And I'm pretty confident we're just going to lose, so let's just end it here. Well, a bit of an unfortunate ending, although, let's be honest, I probably kept not a very good hand. And also probably didn't sideboard properly. I think keeping the Rumbles so that I could find the Spell Bombs was probably the better way to do it. And then actually keeping a hand that could do one of those things. But Spellbomb doesn't always win against that kind of opponent anyway. They usually play Siege Smash to be able to blow up the Spellbomb, so you can't just hold it as long as possible. But in any case, we only got a 2-3 with the deck, but I was actually rather impressed with it. We were able to beat Mono Blue Terror twice, which is already a good metric for a deck doing well. We were really close against Mono Blue Fairies. They drew a little bit better than us. That last game, if they just had one fewer snap or of one mind, I think we would have been okay. And I think our sideboard could definitely use some work. Our other loss to Bogles was just an oversight. I think we definitely are going to get some Accursed Marauders in the sideboard here. I would say 2 to 3. So I'd put those Marauders in the sideboard here. But I did really like the deck. I think going for the Sac/Stompy element is really cool. Because a lot of Golgari lists that I've seen, or potentially tried to brew, is just trying to do black Sac, but in multiple colors, with Mortician Beetles and Carrion Feeders. That usually doesn't work, and I think the reason is because you might as well be mono black. But this one, just having creatures that come out the gate really big, and then one of the payoffs for that being like unearthing a Biograph. Unearthing a Carrion Feeder is a great thing to do with mono black Sac, but you do have to put work into that Carrion Feeder actually being relevant again, whereas the Graph just comes out as a 5/4. I do think we could use a little bit more fodder. I realized that I changed the list up a little bit, but I stopped before I changed the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks are probably in here because they could be milled off the Rumbles, and then they could be able to give a counter to your Evolution Witness, which I did cut. I ended up leaving them because I still thought the Surveil Biograph into the graveyard and then Unearth It was still a decent combo, and the extra counter's not bad. But I think we actually might want Blister Pod instead. I'm trying to keep the fodder green here, since we have many more green sources early, either a green source on turn 1, or we can play a Colony Garden into another tap land and we can play our fodder. So I think Blister Pod is the second best one that you can have after Young Wolf. So I kind of like cutting Mavericks for those. This gives you 2 creatures, much like Black Sac, off of 1 creature, similar to the Young Wolf, because we were having trouble sometimes with the Groffs or the Dead, especially when they were snapped, to actually have enough fodder to get them out there. We didn't really have a game where we drew that many cards, where I like bequeathed a creature and then Village Rites it, but I did kind of like this game plan of like drawing a lot of cards, because unlike Black Sac, where we want to be really, really fast, we don't want anything to slow us down, and too much card draw is something that slows us down. Here, if we draw a bunch of cards, but then we're able to play like a Biograph, which can instantly block and trade with a Terror, or a Bone Picker, which can do the same, or a Kildare Undead, which can block something every turn. Like, our creatures are so much better right away that I kind of think it's okay to, if we lose some tempo, recoup that with some value, and then just slam a bunch of giant creatures on the board. I think that's a decent thing to do, so I didn't mind having 4 of each of these. Rancor is always a great card, so you could almost go up to 4. Even in multiples, it's not usually bad, but of course, sometimes you draw a second copy of this and you prefer it to be a creature or anything else, so 3 might just be fine. The random 2 Nest Invaders feels a little awkward. Nest Invader definitely isn't a bad card, and does fit here decently, especially because we're kind of stompy, but I almost feel like maybe this could just be something else. Maybe we go for a full playset of the Kildare Undead. Maybe there's another Stompy / Sac card that could fit into here. You definitely have some options. And then for sideboard, I didn't want to change it too much. Definitely, I think the Marauders in here are a must, but you have a few other things you could try. Of course, Rotten Reunion can be a good sideboard card for graveyards, if we wanted to go a couple of those instead of the Spell Bombs, which can also be fodder for all of our various things. Duress could also be Temporal Intervention, if we have enough ways to make sure that we're sacrificing creatures and triggering that. And we definitely need some more testing, but is Unexpected Fangs better than like a Vampiric Link, which doesn't give the extra counter and is an instant speed, but it's 1 mana. I think that Fangs is probably fine here because we are a little bit slower, but that's just another thing to think about. I guess, is Weather the Storm even necessary, or would we just want more Fangs? Oh, and honestly, I think maybe a Suffocating Fumes or something like that in the sideboard wouldn't be unreasonable for some of those go-wide matchups, since we are almost more of kind of a mid-range deck, I think. But I really enjoyed this list. It was smoother than any other Golgari Sacrifice list that I've tried, and I have tried a few. So thanks again to Sty for the deck donation. If you want to see me play your deck on the channel, go ahead and check out the Metafy link down below. Thanks to my monthly supporters. You are what make it possible for me to continue putting out videos every single day. Thanks to my $10 and up supporters, including Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Adam Cadmon, Apple Beta Pi, Howcast, Cody Cowell, and Sty. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you all next time.